Welcome to the Rachele and Cassandra Show. Before we begin, our disclaimer. What you are about to hear is not even close to legal or financial advice, even though it might sound like it.
Hi, happy day. This is Cassandra. I'm doing the show intro today. And so we've got Rachele, as always. We've got a special guest, Kara, from First Centennial Title. And as always, our goal is to inform and educate and elevate the business. So let's get started.
Awesome. Welcome, Kara. Thank
Hi.
you for joining us today.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Before we get going talking about the ever exciting topic of title insurance,
Yes.
how is it that you're here today? I love this story because we've never met.
No.
You're our first cold guest,
Yes.
if you will.
Rando.
So I found your podcast just scrolling through Facebook videos, getting lost in it. And I was watching them and I'm like, this is really awesome. And I found the video with the tax assessor. And I was,
Trina.
yes.
Yes.
I was, this is so informative, just even for me who deals with taxes all the time. And I thought, we need to get on there and we need to talk to them and we need to talk to the agents and just inform people on title insurance because it's pretty cool.
It is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Cassandra and I talking, we do some prep work before each episode and we're looking at our catalog of episodes, and you're probably fourth inside of 2 months to still be talking about title, which is hilarious. Only because we jokingly refer to it as so boring. And I would say 95% of the population has no idea what it even means when you say title.
Oh yeah. No. And I didn't
So what
either.
is it?
Exactly.
What is it?
So title insurance, it's different than homeowners insurance. That can kind of get confusing because when you're buying a house, you're getting charged for homeowners insurance and then title insurance. We insure a clean title to the lender, to the buyer, just make sure there's no liens at all from previous owners.
So what is the actual coverage? Because you're issuing an insurance policy, just like my auto insurance, my life insurance, my homeowner's insurance.
Right. Yeah. So the actual coverage would be, let's say, trying to think of a good
What
example.
is a clean title? You use the
Clean
word
title.
clean title. What does that mean?
So at the time of processing, we get that payoff, we get that HOA status letter, we get all the taxes, we make sure all the taxes are paid. And we make sure that the mortgage is paid and discharged. And then we make sure that the HOA is paid. Because anything that can place a lien on your property, we need to clear. So we need to make sure that there's no outstanding liens, no outstanding payments that could come back on the now owner.
I just had a question and it left my brain.
I have a question.
Oh, I just remembered mine. Go
ahead, Rachele.
I was going to say, a lot of times we have language in a contract that talks about a title policy being marked up at closing.
Yep.
What does that mean?
So our commitment is kind of like a policy. We have requirements that we need to clear at the time before the closing table.
Can we have an example? Pretend that the person on the other end of this audio doesn't know what any of this means.
So we get a piece of paper, a package that has a bunch of items that need to be completed, like a checklist.
123 Main Street, I'm going to sell it on January 15th, and you're going to issue a policy as long as the current mortgage gets paid in full. That's an example.
That the HOA, there's no lien associated with the HOA.
Homeowners Association.
Yep. Taxes. We have summer tax. We have winter tax. Those are showing due. We need to check off that they are paid.
Got it. Cassandra, what was your question?
Well, I was going to say, so I look at title policies, right? So I order them, I look at them, I can see the list of things that need to happen before the policy can be issued. What I was going to say, when can't you issue a title policy? I believe it's called clouded title, but what do you do if there's something kind of fucky?
So a lot of times, let's say, a good example is Livingston County has a tax auction, where they're putting up all these houses that were foreclosed on, and you go and you purchase one for very, very cheap. But what happens is you are purchasing everything on that title as well. Mm-hmm. So you go ahead, you flip it, you spend a ton of money flipping it, and you turn around and sell it. And you bring it to us, we look at it, and we're like, well, this was tax title. So you have on there like previous mortgages or previous interest from the seller before.
And possibly from the history of ownership, because at the time I bought it at tax sale, there is no title insurance guaranteeing me anything.
Yep. And so what we would do in that case is, there's different options. FOIA packages, Freedom of Information Acts from the county would be able to just verify that, they were properly notified of the foreclosure. We have a whole team of underwriters and a whole team of examiners who review every single word, every single page, and they, are able to determine if we can insure this property.
And is the word can keeps being thrown around. Can and can't, doesn't that actually mean whether or not you're willing to? And I say that because of experiences I've had where a title insurance company says, no, we won't insure that. And another company steps in and says, we'll write over that. It's a risk assessment.
Basically, yeah. And a lot of it falls on, I would say, because we are just the third party, and then the underwriter who we deal with usually issues, they make the final call on a lot of our big issues. But at First Centennial, can't really isn't in our vocabulary. We try to do whatever it takes, whatever it takes to get it done. And if we ever say we can't, we like agents to have that reassurance that it's like we went through every single avenue, searched everything we could to try to do it. And we can't.
You sometimes search multiple underwriters,
yes.
multiple companies. Okay, so you are like a broker. You will shop through multiple.
We have 3 underwriters. Yeah, we work with 3 underwriters who we can kind of, bounce.
Kind of like what you do with a mortgage, Cassandra.
Yep.
It sounds like you can find the best fit, or in difficult cases, the most appropriate fit. If you've got a challenging case, maybe underwriter 1 won't take it, but underwriter 2 says we'll do it.
Right.
So back to Cassandra's original question, if you end up in a situation where you can't or nobody is willing to underwrite because it's a messy title, is there remedy for that?
I know there is court action that you can take if, you are not the responsible party for clearing that title. You can quiet title. That's the court action. And we have, a reference of attorneys who are really great with doing the quiet title, but there is a process that goes along with it that's long, and
it's like a 6-month time frame, as my understanding.
Yeah, 3 to 6, I believe, and then it's quite expensive and
exhaustive. It involves notifying parties and public notices requiring trying to effectively. I'm asking a question, not trying to state a fact. I'm checking with you if it's what I think it is. Trying to notify anyone who may actually have legitimate interest in the property to come forward and claim it. Otherwise, the court's going to override and say that the title is clear or not.
I'm not exactly sure on the whole what the courts do in the quiet title process, but I know that at the end of it, they will issue a court order approving the sale of the home or allowing the sale of the home. And we take that, we record that with the warranty deed, and we can issue clear title.
Gotcha. And you issue a warrant. So warranty deed gets issued with a title policy, just like if I was selling you my house.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
And how far back do you have to go?
In our title search?
Yeah. Say the house was built in 1850.
How
far back do you have to go?
I have seen deeds from very long ago, but I think, we go back at least 3 deeds, I would think, but it just kind of depends how many deeds are recorded. We like the chain of title to be very much. We need to know the sellers, who they are. And then because a lot of times people will just deed, same seller, quick claim.
Yeah, I was going to bring that up.
Yeah.
And can we take a moment to acknowledge that her answer was actually, it depends.
Yeah.
We have these real estate goggles
Yes.
that we put on all the time.
That's the answer.
If you can
It
do
depends.
it, get with it. There we go. Oh, look at that.
Oh.
All right, that's the title.
right.
It depends.
Yeah. I don't know how to do the other way.
You did great.
Thanks.
Okay, so if you go back, and that's a really interesting, I didn't realize that. I thought there was a minimum number of years, like 40 years all the time. But if
There might be. But that's more exam and how they contact the county and everything like that. I'm not exactly sure what their absolute number is, if that makes sense.
and I
So
can
that's
totally,
an examiner
yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
kind of discretion. If you peel something back and then you have to go further, they might end up going. I know most lenders want a 24-month chain of title. I do know that.
Yes.
That's it?
Or similar.
I did not know that.
Yep.
So before we actually started with the recording, you and I were kind of talking about some things that you see in the industry.
Yes.
Can we talk about those? Like, how
Yeah.
can I be a better agent when it comes to title policy?
Yeah. I would say just really understanding what we're asking for and why we're asking for it. That way then, because at the end of the day, mortgage, title, real estate, our one goal is to get to the table as smooth without anyone upset.
So what are the kind of things that you would ask for?
So certificates of trust, those are huge, and we're seeing them.
Fucking girl.
Yes.
I am 3 weeks in on waiting for trust documents. They're getting mailed to me snail mail. I can't even with what's going on. I feel it. I feel that.
Well, and a lot of times, I can't tell you how many times actually we have to explain why we need the certificates of trust.
And I've been involved in sales where the certificate didn't do the job, did not satisfy the legal aspect of title, and the entire trust needs to be viewed. People feel very weird about that.
Yeah. Well, and I think, in that case, that is usually what we would call like a messy title in a way.
Yeah.
It's not the messiest we've ever seen, but it can get messy. But people don't understand why or what a certificate of trust is.
Yeah.
So, they're like, well, I don't want to pay for my attorney to do it. And, it really just takes the trust, summarizes it all up, and we record it with the deed.
And so I have a trust and my property is held in my trust, and my certificate of trust specifically bullet points that I as trustee have the right to handle transfers of ownership and sales of my property. And I think that that's what the title is looking for, because
Exactly.
I could have a trust and put my property in that trust, but not assign myself that right as trustee.
Yeah.
I may have different powers inside of the trust. So you need to know that if I sell the house, I actually have a right to do that.
Yep. And so do agents. They need to know that the person they're working with is the seller,
Yes.
because I
So-
couldn't.
I was going to say one of my least favorite, most annoying things is when the seller on record is an LLC, a person signs the purchase contract. There's no LLC documents in the file or provided. The listing agent has no idea. It's like if I signed for my fucking neighbor's house to be sold.
Yep.
As far
Yep.
as the lender is concerned, like who is this person? I need these documents. And then my favorite is never have I ever been asked for this. And I'm like, have you never done a transaction? But
Yeah.
Right.
anyway,
And really that LLC bit is funny, because if you have an LLC and then you have to sign as member or as you are signing as whatever role in the LLC that owns the property.
And a lot of times with LLCs who have multiple members, then we're like, okay, we need to narrow it down. Who is authorized to sign? Do you guys have a resolution? And so all the parties get together. They sign a document saying, we all agree Rachel can sign on behalf of the LLC.
Yes.
So there are documents that we need, and there is a little bit of legwork that the seller would need to complete. But once you understand why we need it, it helps the seller understand why we need it.
Yeah. And as an agent, knowing these things before they show up can help me guide and prepare my client rather than,
Yeah.
I don't know.
11th hour.
Yeah. That final hour scramble sucks.
Can we just do a few more that are often requested? Because it sounds like we're talking about outliers here, but these are really common. Trust documents, LLC documents, divorce decrees, death certificates that are original, affidavits of a fixture. I say this because it does have to do with title. Like,
Yes.
Yeah.
there are
I'd
all
like
of
to
these
talk about
things.
that.
They're so common, but they just are like the last thing on anybody's mind. So a good title company will send the title work in and go, hey, look at number X, look at the number 1, 2, and 3 on page X, Y, and Z. I need these things, not just here's the title, figure out what the fuck to send me.
For any agents who might be listening, it's Schedule B where all the weird shit is. Schedule A is usually the standard shit that's going to go away at the time of transfer. But Schedule B is where you're going to find your
requirements and everything like that.
And that includes the weird things. Like
yes.
And like Cassandra said, they're not that weird.
But they're not a lot of people have knowledge on them.
There you go.
Yeah. So and new things can seem kind of scary to anyone, before you understand it and kind of can wrap your own brain around it. And letters of authority is huge.
Oh yeah, court.
We're seeing a lot of it.
That's a probate thing.
Yes. So that is if someone passes away and their house needs to go to the estate. And I know we kind of touched a little bit on Facebook about it, but I think a lot of people don't realize is, when you provide us with the letters of authority from the probate, there are restrictions listed. And if the restrictions are blank, we're fine. We can proceed with closing. It could be a number of things, what the seller or the personal representative would have to do in order to sell this house. Either send it into a trust account or the attorney holds all the funds. At that time, we would stop and we would say, where's the court order? Mm-hmm. Because if there are restrictions, then the courts need to get back involved. You need to contact all the heirs, get waivers, get consents, and there's a 21-day waiting period.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
So the 21-day waiting period is, when the judge signs that court order. So in the state of Michigan, there is a law where they give you 21 days for any heir, anyone with interest in the property, to step forward and attest the sale. So, we usually like to wait 26 days-ish, but, that varies because weekends are involved and everything like that. But a lot of people don't know that. Attorneys, I cannot tell you how many attorneys I've had to get into arguments with over it, because they think it's a title thing, but it's not. It's law. It's across the board.
So if this gets uncovered 2 days before closing, you're literally having to reset the clock. You can't do anything.
Yep. And we do have, a lot of times is people panic and they're like 21 days. No, we need to close tomorrow. And the attorney should already have all the waivers and consents. They're taking it to court. The judge is ordering it. If they give us those to review and we find them acceptable, a lot of time that's kind of the way around it. So, we will never, and that's going back to can't. Mm-hmm. We don't like that word, so we will do whatever it takes to find out how to close your deal when you want to close your deal, and that's one thing about us that, I love working at First Centennial because of it. So, yeah. But going back to things we commonly see is mortgage discharged.
Yes, that's actually freakishly common.
Yes.
Mortgages that have not been discharged.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. Our parents had one.
I knew you were coming in with that. Yes.
Helped the buyer purchase our parents' old home, and there was a mortgage from Old Kent Bank, which had long since been out of business from ages ago. Mm-hmm. That was not discharged. But the title company, this was in a really tiny town, was like, oh, I know exactly who to call. to get this document, even though the bank's been out of business for 15 years.
Yeah.
Like
did it
they
get
see
done?
it all the time. Totally.
Easy.
They got done.
Nice. That's awesome.
Easy peasy.
And
Yep.
that's the cool thing is, a lot of title companies, we grow contacts, I guess, at banks. And so we have the ability to kind of be like, oh, Old Kent Bank, I had a deal previously with this situation and I contact so-and-so.
And you guys have to keep track of, like, for that situation, Old Kent Bank became Fifth Third Bank?
We have
right?
a list like this
Mergers?
big,
Yeah.
of all the
Mergers and
mergers,
acquisitions.
everything like that. It's
funny because I do have down relationships equal movement. And I was going to parlay it into a question, but it's literally like the relationships you've built and the company's built and the data you guys have helps move a file in ways that, maybe a newer title company can't move a file.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I would say too, title companies kind of have to stick together, on split transactions.
I'm so glad to hear you say that.
Yeah.
You know what I didn't know? Not to just hijack where you're going, keep it in your mind, but I didn't know that I do most of my business in Livingston County. I do plenty of business outside of Livingston County as well. But I just found out that most title companies don't play nice with each other on a split title transaction.
Yeah, it can get kind of ugly.
Like, that's odd to
How?
me because why wouldn't you want to work
Yeah, I'm
together?
confused.
Though you got to think like we are very busy. Like,
Of course.
as title companies, we get overwhelmed, we get busy, month end especially. We're getting hit from all different directions, 50 emails coming in at once. We're all kind of at the same stress level where we would be mean, I think, or catty per se. I would think that would be the better word, to anyone, and so we're just one track mind. We got to get it done.
Oh, yeah.
And-
well, hold on, because I get accused of being mean when I'm just being, like, getting the job
Direct.
done. I don't
Yeah.
have time for, hi, how are you? Hope you had a great weekend. Hey, I was just touching base to find out if maybe you'd like to. I'm just like, I need this. Boom.
Yeah.
That makes sense to me.
Yeah. We're all very, and especially in the summer, we're flying by the seat of our pants every
Do you
single
guys
day.
share information since you're
do.
all looking at the same data?
Yes, we do. And, my manager has kind of like it's not a rule, but it's an unspoken rule. Always play nice with your second title company because,
High five that.
yeah, when you're in a bind,
You might need them.
yes.
And just so everybody knows, there are two title companies in many cases because the listing side of the transaction typically customarily provides a title insurance policy ensuring the new owner's interest in the property. The new owner, if they have a mortgage, has to provide a title insurance policy for the lender's interest in the property. So you have two policies usually.
Yes. Yep. So it's kind of,
Oh, that is, I wish that we could say, oh, you won something.
right.
You won. We're wrapping it up. That's our alert for the 20-minute mark.
I like it though.
Ish. You like it?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Well, Cassandra, do you have any other specific questions? I really like your relationships equals movement, by the way. I'm stealing it.
Well, I don't have any questions. I really just want to apologize in advance for all the times I've blamed title for a transaction being slow when it was probably not title. But you guys don't get chosen by anyone other than professionals. I know the buyer can choose, but it's so infrequent. So I'm really sorry sometimes for saying it's title's fault when it probably might not have been.
Oh, it's fine.
I'm sorry.
I will dovetail that by thanking title for being willing to take the hit when it's clearly often the client who's shitting the bed, and title takes they'll take the blame.
Hey, we are the punching bag of real estate.
You really are.
And that's what I was told when I got hired in.
It's totally true. But you guys also save deals on the back end all the time. Clients never
Quietly,
see it.
without any
Fanfare.
yes accolades.
Yeah, that is huge. We do a lot of that, and it's a sometimes thankless job, but you build great relationships with these people, and it's the agents become your friends, and the title companies become your friends, and the lenders become your friends, and it's all worth it on that one deal that took forever, that you cried over, blood, sweat, and tears. And once it closes, it's all worth it.
Always.
And it's always on a
Can I ask you
Friday.
a question?
It
Can I
is
ask you
always on a
Friday
Friday.
end of
After
month?
4 p.m.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm sorry. I do have one question.
Yeah.
Have you ever been woken up in the middle of the night over a file that's just gnawing at
Every
you?
single week. Every single week.
Okay.
And I will tell you, every girl I work with does too. And, you know,
Okay.
our eyes pop open and we're like, that document, you know, and I wake my husband up and he's like, I don't even know what that is. He doesn't even know what escrow is. So,
Oh, we could do a whole nother episode about what escrow means
Yeah.
and how that word is used in different states.
oh, yeah.
Oh, I'm writing that down too. All right. So,
Well, thank you for coming in.
Yeah,
it was
of
really
course.
nice to have you as a guest.
Yeah.
absolutely. Do you have anything that you didn't say that you thought you wanted to say when you got here?
Oh, I'm sure I do. But
Okay. But not top of mind immediately.
yeah, no.
Awesome. Well, I can't thank you enough. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. We'll put her link in our bio. So if you have any questions, you can message her directly and she could hook you up with somebody at First Centennial. Does that sound okay?
Yes, thank you.
All right. Sweet. Cool. Well, have a great day, everybody. Bye.
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 The info given is current as of this recording, but remember, the market changes and real estate is hyper local.